Today, I'm going to be discussing an important policy that needs to be changed, and that is charging juveniles as adults and incarcerating them in adult prisons. As of 2003, many states have adopted legislation that permits more children to be tried as adults. In some cases, children as young as 10 years old are tried as adults. 13 states of the United States have no minimum age limit to charge children as adults. This is a result of the get tough approach. I think this policy needs to be changed. I think that our juvenile offenders need to be charged as juveniles, put into juvenile centers, and rehabilitated. The reasons that I believe this is because their brains are not fully developed, and they are unable to exercise judgment, make mature decisions, or knowledge of the courts. And according to Jeffrey Fagan, who wrote the article Adolescence Maturity and the Laws, he states that their character is not fully developed yet, and putting them in jail with adults can influence the character of the person that they are to become. If you put them in jail where they have gangs and that's what they learn to do, they're more likely to commit more crimes while incarcerated or when they get out on the streets and be put back in jail. They can be rehabilitated more successfully than adults. And this can be done through several different things. The lack of elements of psychological development that characterizes adults as mature, or self-management, risk perception, and calculation of future consequences. And this is something that adolescents just don't have yet. They can't see the consequence of the crime that they're committing, what the consequence of the future will be. According to Adam Serwer, who wrote the article, Can Teen Killers Be Rehabilitated? He says that psychologists show that adolescents are risk takers, and they are more impulsive and more likely to take risks than an adult because their brains are not fully developed. He believes that they can be rehabilitated while they are incarcerated and once they are out of jail. And one of the main ways to rehabilitate them is through counseling. One-on-one counseling, group counseling, and family counseling. Getting the family involved if there is a family to support the adolescent. Another way to rehabilitate is through helping them earn their high school or GEDs or high school diplomas while they are incarcerated. In conclusion, I want to leave you with an example of why I believe the policy should be changed for charging children as adults. This is the story of Jacob End. In 1992, 15-year-old Jacob End was charged with murdering his mother and his stepfather. He was charged with first-degree murder, 2 counts of first-degree murder, and was sentenced to 2 life sentences. His lawyers at the time advised him not to testify for himself. Well, recently Jacob has come forward and said that his mother and his stepfather had been abusing him and his brother for 5 years, mentally, physically, and sexually. He felt like there was no other way out, and that was his way of defending himself and his brother. So this is why I think that this policy needs to be changed, because sometimes adolescents can't see the future. They can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They don't understand that things do get better the older that you get. Sometimes they feel that that's their only way out. So all that needs to be taken into consideration before they sentence the juveniles. And also because they do have time to be rehabilitated and put back out into the community as successful adults.